Before understanding the weighting process, and the weighting process kind of falls in line with the type of stroke pattern you had. For this reason, that's why I'm explaining this. One of the complications that radial stroke patterns have is that a person's actual personal timing may not match a cadence timing that would work well for a certain type of green speed. So if you have really slow greens, you're going to need a much faster cadence. You might have a cadence or metronome cycle of 72 cycles to effectively putt on slower greens. If you have very, very fast greens, like you're putting at Oakmont or Augusta National or something like that, then you can probably have a lower rhythm rate. Most people, if you check their natural biorhythms, they're going to be around 62 to 64 cycles. That's pretty low. Effective putting needs to be, I think, quite a bit higher than that, up around 70, 71 cycles to be effective. Or you're going to just have a really, really long stroke to make your slower timing work. I just feel it's more complicated. But so the weighting scenario for a radial stroke is they tend to like a lot of head weight. They don't tend to like a lot of counterweight. Right? So if you're going to be a radial stroke pattern, if you want to work on a radial stroke pattern, that's fine. If you want to work on it, do it. It takes a lot of due diligence. You have to have a lot of time with a metronome, and you got to really work on it. It's not that you can't do it. I just feel it's more complicated than what I would deem a linear stroke. Linear strokes are weighted very differently than radial strokes. And I think about 95% of the tour is linear. And in the linear family, there are three types of strokes. There's a short, there's a medium, and a long linear. Now, what is a linear stroke? A linear stroke, a radial stroke has a fixed axis of gyration. So it's working through the shoulders, hands are totally inert and dead. A linear stroke is very active in the arms and the hands, okay? They're pushing in a linear fashion. For example, Tiger's linear. Tiger's holding his chest when he's practicing and he's working on his right arm piston action of his arm. Nicklaus was linear. Palmer was linear. Player linear. Casper linear, right? So we're talking some of the greatest putters of all time. They were all linear. Quiet shoulders. I don't believe the shoulders are active in this stroke at all, right? If the shoulders are moving around, the hands are getting lost in space-time and motion, knowing where the shoulders are at and where the hands are in relationship to the ball. Very complicated. So linear players are very quiet in their shoulders, very active in the right arm and right hand, pushing towards a target, working at a 90-degree angle. Now, since we have three stroke types, short, medium, and long, we have to decide which one you are, right? And the weighting is very different for each one. So Brent Snedeker would be more of a short linear stroke. Tiger would be more medium linear, and Crenshaw would be a longer linear, right? So, very interesting fact, somebody like Ben Crenshaw, he would tour around with 4 putters, and he had 4 different types of weight in his putter, all internally within the shaft. He had a very light putter head, but he had a lot of weight inside of the shaft. So he was going to a golf course using weight, depending on the green speeds, to decide which putter he was going to use during that day. So let me explain if you're short, medium, or long, the weight scenarios. So if you're short linear, you tend to not like a lot of head weight. You want a very light putter head, right? Because think of it, if you have a short backstroke and you're very accelerative, you don't want something heavy to accelerate in that shorter interval. So short linear putters tend to love really light heads and counterweight. So whatever you take out of the head, you put in the handle. And they tend to like counterweight higher up because it helps release the putter, makes the putter head feel even lighter. So it makes it easier to accelerate in that short interval. Now medium linear, on the other hand, they tend to like, medium head weight to a little bit lighter, but they tend to like internal weighting. So we use we use Optivibes, which are a movable weight product that you can put inside of the shaft and move it up and down and find that perfect sweet spot, which we'll show you later. And they tend to like a little counterweight at the top. So they like a split weight system, medium to light heads. Long linear, on the other hand, tend to like a little more head weight, right? Because they got a lot longer stroke. They have plenty of time to get that putter to accelerate, take it back and straight through. Even though they may look radial, they are linear because it's how they're putting and applying force to the putter. And they like to maybe have a little bit of counterweight or a grip that's got enough weight in it to where it kind of helps counterweight the head of the putter. So I hope that helps. We're going to show this in action, how we can weight and manipulate weight patterns in the putter to produce speed patterns.